Hello, it is Wednesday. PC just came out a touch hot. 3.3% dead in line with the Fed number, but the headline's hot at 3.7 versus 3.6 on energy. But that's July, so that's before this 6% oil crash. So it's not the hawkish shock that breaks the gold growth bed, and we're just looking at core here. So seeing an uptick on DPI, lower on outlays, apparently personal savings rising as a percentage of the DPI. And if we look at gold second, a tiny bit, but not too crazy here. Let's see. Checking out AUD CAD. So this looks like be the cleanest long trade on the board here as we hedge XLE, basically on the dollar neutral copper over oil, which is heating up. Yesterday, 2.7% on FCX. We're pulling back a little bit, most likely on thin volume. And an AUD USD trade continues to rise on copper, not on the weak USD. So we slammed through that March, April, June level, pulled back a touch, and it's just rising on low volume. So that's interesting to watch here. If we look at oil yesterday, negative 6%. Brent's down to 86, but TLT was up 1%. Biotech ripped, gold held, copper was at a record. So I'm reading this as a disinflation relief and not a gold growth scare. It is going to affect our XLE position a touch, and we do have an invalidation number basically at the 20-day. So if oil's having a relief here, this is going to hurt that. But that's why we're seeing gold pull back just a touch here. But we maybe just add to that because that was really just average volume yesterday. So we're going to look at that. NVDA is coming out after the close. And they're just chopping around. And I'm not going to put anything into this. We're looking at ONON this morning. Interesting. If you would have bought at the IPO 5 years ago, you would have lost 18%. Trending this morning as it continues to break down into that level. It's very interesting how these levels take into account. And then RUM rejected yesterday off of that June level on the daily. And if you look at the weekly, this has been a line in the sand since their IPO. So it's literally just moved around and around. So if you would have bought that on the IPO 5 years ago, you'd be sitting flat. So this morning it's trying to break through that, but on lower it's a higher volume. So higher volume tried to get through it and it couldn't. I'm not sure if you can hear my cat screaming outside, but he's very upset. Yesterday we got out of path. You've been following me on that ever since we got into it. We booked almost 15%. It was just a shy away from the price target, but again, these price targets are just essentially made up numbers. I mean, it's a measured move, but it's measured and things happen, right? And so as a result, I did not like that price went up, got rejected on low volume. That's fine, but I did not really see the volume heading back into this that I would like. So watched it intraday, put it on at 15, put a stop at the low of that session, the session's low, and we got out. And so that was a good move because now we're down 2.6%. This morning it would probably gap down further. So interesting to see what that looks like here. If we look overall, dollar's flat. We have an AUD, CAD that triggered. So we'll look into getting into that. Potentially, I mean, we broke that resistance on lower volume, so I have to look into that a little bit more. But we've been watching Geo floating around here. It has passed that line from May, and I guess you could say it's coming back on low volume to test it. But 3% on that would be the 3308 level, which coincidentally it has not broken. So we've been watching Geo for a while. And that's pretty interesting. Let's see what else we got. We're seeing crude crash. And if you're watching Twitter, there's a bunch of rumors about Russia last night and this and that. But when you see all these rumors, you have to really just check the oil and the gold and see what's happening. And gold is just kind of sitting around, not really doing much. So as the crude crash propagates through these rate channels, we have to kind of see how that affects things. Lower oil, lower expected inflation, lower Fed hike rates, real yields ease. So bonds got up yesterday. Basically a pure duration bet. The long duration got a bid. XBI got a bid on slightly high volume. XLV continued to get up, just kind of consolidating there. That's why we saw some movement yesterday in MR and Moderna. And then that's why we saw XLV go down. So interesting how this all kind of works together here. And let's see, let's go through. We had somebody reached out on these tickers. Let's check these out. BEN. This had come up before, but not really seeing the chart pattern that I would like on that. And then CA CART. I saw CART recently. That came up on a scanner recently. I think it was like a line in the sand type of play here. So CART is an interesting one because you have this level from February and August. And then that would be this year, I guess. So, no, it's 25. Okay. So it's approaching it. I mean, we missed the move on this a while back, but that's fine. So, I would put this in the watch list, but it would have to clear this plus some wiggle room on high volume. So CART is on the list there. We'll just add that to make sure it is on that. IQB. We played this before. So this is another line in the sand type of play. It did beat that. It did go past that January level. But I really like to zoom out to see what historical levels are. And we're right at this March 24 level. And that's why when you look at the chart, you see that the last 3 days, this is just trying to break through on tiny volume. And as it tries to go up into it, the volume profile goes down each day. So I would probably just short this guy honestly. And then WLY, oops. This is interesting. Mark down, mark up, mark down, mark up. I don't know. I don't really like this chart that much. I just see a bunch of consolidation basically. No real pattern. Yeah, I don't like that too much. Okay, let's go through smart trades and see what we're doing here. So we're green across the board on all the book here. KMX. We got into KMX yesterday. I got into it a little late. I didn't really like the chart, but you have to follow the system. So we got in basically low moderate volume there. Pre-market up, stop loss right above the so we're just gonna keep that. And then we got into Visa. I talked about that yesterday, so it's rising on lower volume up pre-market. The stop loss is pretty close there, but it's at the, okay. So we did get a better entry yesterday, waiting for the full confirmation instead of checking the volume before the end of the day. So sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. It worked in our favor for Visa yesterday, or whenever I got into this guy. Yeah, yesterday. Got a better fill. It's up pre-market. So they say that if you have a breakout bar and you put a candle, you put the stop underneath the 1/3 of that breakout bar, if price goes back here and goes lower than the 1/3 of that breakout bar, it's going to be bearish. So we have a tight spread on that, which makes a better R multiple. Okay, there you go. Okay, ARK. We got to, we potentially was going to sell on this, but I looked at the volume when it did have the pullback and it was low, so I kept into it and price closed above. So we're down pre-market. What was the volume on that? Let's see. Volume on that was slightly higher, but it's lower in that pull range here. That's more of a macro play. Lower volume pushing up. We're going to move this up a touch. I'm going to move it over here, honestly. PK. Let's see. Moved higher on lower volume. Okay. IHI, the medical play here, down pre-market. after the low volume and decisive candle. Kind of. Pre-market's down, so yeah, that's close to the stop. We're going to keep that as is. Okay. IEFA. This is that ETF that just bounces around all day. So this was lower volume. Pushing up there. This is a consolidator. Yeah, we're seeing pre-market on that. Yeah, IEFA loves to just ramp up pre-market and then slam down. So anyway, pushing up to resistance on lower volume. That does not look too good. Okay, ECO. I need to start unloading some of this stuff. Pre-market, I'm going to move this up to the 20-day. Low volume. Don't mind if we get out of that. Alright, stop looks good on that. Low volume rising up. IQLT. Whoa. Sometimes this shows pre-market, sometimes it doesn't. Oh man, okay. 3x volume, way past primary. Or we actually might hit this aggressive target. What is that? Up 8.8%. Per usual, this thing loves to slam up in the morning. EQLT has been a very fun ride, but that volume is intense. Can't deny that. Aggressive price target 54. I need to research what's making this move. That's been a great one. Okay. And then what do we got? EPOL. All these ETFs are just like rebalancing, I guess. Stops up. I'm going to move the stop up slightly to the 20-day. These candles are definitely not harmonic. Yeah, price target too. If I can just hit that, that'd be nice. Love this Poland ETF of all things. I think this was based on the dollar or materials. I forget. I have to research that. Moving stop up. Price hit consolidation high. And then moving SL to 20-day 40 43, I believe. Yeah. 43. And then, man, the last of the high type pullback plays. I think we can move this to break even just because of the 20-day. $56. Let's do like that. 56.32. Original lower volume. Okay. Let's check out. Let's see what's going on the board. Yeah, nothing much. Runs. Pull flag breakout. We've been doing some work on bull flag breakout internally. Trying to get this dialed in, which has been fun. Okay. Leadership, Merck, interactive brokers. That's cool. I really like that. Yeah, I have to put that on the watch list. And then what else we got? Minerals, obviously. What is that? Health technology. Cool. And then what we got here? SMA. Teams on the SMA. And medicine. Looks like I was in that a while back. We're still in XLF. Which is crazy. And then SPY's seeing some low volume this month, this day. So it's just drifting on low volume. So, okay. We're looking good. PCI came out, so we got that out of the way. We got Warsh on Friday. I'm going to see if it's possible to add to gold. We're close to our 43.6 level. I just got to do some research on that. And then I'm just doing more research today. So we'll see how it goes.